We're going to have some great topics today. We're going to be covering the NFL, mention a little bit about the Senior Bowl. We're going to be talking about some college basketball, what games to watch. And we're going to be talking a little bit about the WWE Royal Rumble. So let's kick it off with the NFL games. We have the Chiefs versus the Bengals and the 49ers versus the Eagles. Which of these teams are going to win to go to the Super Bowl? I believe that the Chiefs versus the Bengals is going to be a great game. We're going to see a lot of points put up. We're going to see a lot of spectacular catches, runs, throws. It's going to be everything you want to see as a football fan. And my question to the Chiefs is Cincinnati your kryptonite? Like Superman has, his weakness is kryptonite. They've beat them 3 times in a row. Are you going to let it be a 4th time? I imagine if you're a Chiefs fan, you're pretty fired up for this game tomorrow night. You've witnessed the Bengals go into your place last year, Arrowhead Stadium, and knock you out from going to the Super Bowl. I would not want to see it happen a second time. And then they also, beat them 3 times in a row. I would want my revenge if I was a Kansas City fan tomorrow night. I'd be, having my bells out and posters. I'd be having it all. I'd be screaming at the top of my lungs, let's beat Burrow, Let's get it done. Let's beat these Bengals and let's go to the Super Bowl. But on the other hand, if you're a Bengals fan, beating the Chiefs, make it 4 times in a row. Beating one of the better quarterbacks today, Look what all Pat Mahomes has done. And I think that would pretty well seal, that Joe Burrow is probably the best quarterback if he can beat Mahomes tomorrow night. Burrow is probably already the best quarterback the Bengals have ever had. Well, we're going to see a great story tomorrow. It's going to be fun to watch and see how it ends. All right, let's talk about our other game, the 49ers versus the Eagles. I kind of think the Eagles are going to win. I think it'll be by about 10 points. They're just amazing offensively, defensively. The 49ers are a great team. Love the story of Rudy. He was the last pick in the draft last year. And, it's an amazing story. And, for me, that's who I'm rooting for to win the Super Bowl since the Steelers aren't in it. I think that would be an amazing story. The last pick of the draft goes out and wins the whole thing. But he's got a huge obstacle in the Eagles. The Eagles are just a firehouse, like I said. And I don't really see how he's going to be able to overcome it, but he's proven me wrong before. So we'll see, All right, let's talk a little bit about the Senior Bowl. Some players that, I'm really excited to be watching. Let's talk about the national team. We got Kelly Blue, Isaiah Foskey, Nick Hampton. He was from Appalachian State. It's always nice to see some G5 recognition in the Senior Bowl. I'll tell you a player I really love. I've been talking about him is Carlton Martell. He's from Troy. I might have not pronounced his last name right, but if you look at his highlights, you are just going to be amazed at the speed this guy has, his knowledge, his awareness. I'm telling you, look this guy up, watch his highlights. If you're a pro scout, just remember that name, especially if you can get this guy in the 2nd or 3rd round. I think he's going to be able to raise his stock. Right now, he's probably at like a 5th round pick. But after the Senior Bowl, I believe this guy could go up to the 2nd or even 3rd. 2nd, perhaps probably a third-round pick. Look at Cody Mulch from North Dakota State. That guy, he's going to be a first-round pick. He's an offensive lineman, great program in North Dakota State. They need to make the leap to the FBS. Don't understand why they're staying in the FCS, but who knows? I know another player I watched for Appalachian State that I really liked. He was hurt a little bit this year. His name was Cameron Peoples. Yeah, if you watch his highlights, you're going to be amazed from this. He has good speed. He can catch the ball out of the background, good at blocking. He's everything you want in a running back. So let's talk about the American team a little bit. A running back that popped up for me is Tyjae Spears. He plays for Tulane. He's just a great player, great knowledge of the game. You know, you might want to watch him this week. I think he's going to put on a good show during this Senior Bowl. Look at Luke Musgrave, Rashee Rice, and one more G5 player that I really like that he's not getting a whole lot of recognition right now is Jalen Wayne from South Alabama. Look him up. And I want to talk about a snub. How about Labarn from Marshall? He didn't get invited, I don't guess. Or I don't know if he did and turned it down, but he did play in the Hula Bowl, and he had 1,513 yards and 16 touchdowns. And it's a pretty big snub if he didn't get invited to the Senior Bowl. You know, one of the best stories in college football. The guy was delivering pizzas last year and then went to Marshall and became one of the best running backs in the nation. So let's talk about some good basketball games that I've seen on the schedule, I think, for tonight. I believe one game is going to be Kansas versus Kentucky. I actually look for Kentucky to be pretty competitive against Kansas tonight, and I think that's going to be a good game. We got St. Mary's versus BYU. That's at 10 o'clock. We got Marshall versus Georgia State at 7 o'clock. We got Hofstra versus Charleston at 4 o'clock. And we have Texas versus Tennessee at 6 p.m. I think that's going to be the game of the week. We have Texas, which is ranked number 10, playing Tennessee, which is ranked number 4. And it's got a great tip-off time at 6 o'clock. I believe it's going to be a highly competitive game, high scoring. It's going to be fun to watch. If you really enjoy basketball, I recommend that game to watch it for tonight, 6 o'clock. Talking about the WWE Royal Rumble, I don't really watch WWE anymore. My grandma, she loved wrestling back in the day, and it used to be really, really big. People would get pay-per-views, and, you know, they would sit around and have a big party. It was kind of fun to do that, but, you know, people don't really watch wrestling anymore. But I do think it is fun to watch the Royal Rumble and to watch WrestleMania. What's great with the Royal Rumble is a lot of times they will have a lot of the older wrestlers, and you'll get to see them, you know, in the Rumble and, you know, root for them to win a little bit, to see them go to WrestleMania, headline WrestleMania. Some wrestlers I think you might see tonight. I think you'll see John Cena probably. You might see The Undertaker. You might see maybe Kane. It's just fun to watch the older wrestlers and bring back memories from my childhood, I guess. My grandma, she loved it. So yeah, a recap. I think that we're going to have some great NFL games tomorrow. I think we have some great college basketball games tonight, including that Texas versus Tennessee game. And I think the Senior Bowl is going to be fun to watch. I would recommend watching their practices. And I'm not really for sure who's coaching it this year. I know it's always the worst two teams with the same roster, meaning they didn't fire their head coach. So that would probably be Chicago and maybe Denver. I'm not entirely sure on Denver, though. If you know for sure, you might comment on my YouTube. And I appreciate it if you subscribe to my YouTube if you haven't. It's JC Lim. And I think we're going to have some good competition in that Senior Bowl. I look for it to be a good game. It's not really something that gets talked about in the NFL draft, you know. But yeah, that's my recap. You know, the great college games, great pro games, and the Senior Bowl. All right, everybody have a great afternoon, great week, and tune back next week, and I'll have another podcast up about noonish probably, and I'm sure we'll have some great topics to talk about. Once again, thank you all for listening, and make sure to subscribe to my YouTube. Once again, that's JC Lim. All right, everybody have a great afternoon.